So we talked about acids and we talked about ions. You had different types of polyatomic ions. So we did all of that. You need to remember all of them. And we started off with equations that you have different acids and they have reactions. And the first reaction that we did was what? It was a metal plus acid reaction. In that reaction, you got a salt and H2 gas, and then you did another reaction where you had a base plus acid reaction. And in that case, you had a salt and a water molecule. Then you, and this is the reaction that we were doing. Bases were hydroxides and oxides. They were all bases. So I'm going to do a couple of these reactions like aluminium hydroxide with phosphoric acid. We learned how to balance these equations as well. So I've got aluminium hydroxide. Al is plus 3, OH is minus 1. So the formula is going to be AlOH3 plus phosphoric acid, that's H3PO4. And that would give me, the H is going to get substituted by Al, and that would give me Al and PO4. The charges are already balanced, so nothing much happening there. So it's just going to be Al PO4 plus it's going to produce H2O. So this is what is going on. Now and you need to balance this. So the way you're going to balance this is, okay, I told you that when you try to balance an equation, you start off with the easiest first. Which one is the easiest in this case? The easiest is the one that comes in the least number of places.
Stretch.
I said that the H is in 3 places, so you're not going to start with H. You can start with Al, that's the easiest, that's already balanced. You can then start with P, that is also in 2 places, and that is also balanced. Then you can start with H, because O is in 4 places, H is in 3 places. So how many hydrogen atoms do you have? You've got 3 and 3 over here, that's a total of 6 hydrogen atoms. So what would you multiply this with?
3.
3.
Okay, so you're going to multiply this with 3. And that's it. I mean, the last atom is already automatically always balanced. You've got 4 oxygens and you've got 3 oxygens over here, so that's a total of 7 oxygens. You've got 4 and 3 over here, so that's a total of 7 oxygens. So that's and we can try a few more. Let's do this with nitric acid. I mean, we've already done this. Aluminum and hydroxide. So with nitric acid, it's going to be the H is going to get replaced by aluminium. So it's going to be aluminium and NO3 together. That's plus 3. This is minus 1. So the formula is going to be AlNO3 thrice. Plus there is going to be H2O. And you can start and try and balance this one. What is the first thing you're going to balance? The easiest one?
Sir, Al.
Okay, so that is already balanced.
Oh.
And then you've got
N.
nitrogen. That's how many nitrogens do you have?
3.
So over here there's only 1, so you'll multiply this by
3.
and then after that, is it going to be H or O? Which one, H or O?
Stretch.
Okay, so H is in 3 places, O is in 4 places, so H is easier. So how many H atoms? You've got 3 H atoms, you've got 3 H atoms over here, so that's a total of 6 H atoms. So you'll multiply this with
3.
3.
3. Okay, so that's your balance equation. We're going to start with the third reaction. The third reaction is is exactly the same. There's no difference. Remember, I told you that there were three bases. Where did we study bases? Right at the start, I told you that there was, I mean, acid produces an H plus one, like HCl, HNO3, H2SO4, H3PO4. They all produce H plus one, but the bases, they accept H plus one. So we did reactions of hydroxides and oxides. These were bases. But there's another base which is a carbonate. A CO3 minus 2 ion is also capable of accepting or gaining an H plus 1 ion or reacting with an H plus 1 ion. So that's also a base. Anything that's capable of gaining an H plus 1, that's a base. So our third reaction, this one is going to be with a carbonate. It's going to be a carbonate ion, which is CO3 minus 2. And remember, an ion, a negative ion doesn't exist alone. There's always going to be a positive ion next to it. So it's either going to be a metal or an ammonium ion, any positive ion. So it's so this carbonate would be next to it. So it's either going to be a metal carbonate or an ammonium carbonate. I mean, but it should be a compound that contains carbonate ions, and it's going to react with an acid. And again, salt would be produced in exactly the same way. A water molecule is going to be produced. ठीक है Turan, I'll send the recording, but this is important. If you can try not to leave, like, if you have to, then make sure you watch the recording. ठीक है? As I so a carbonate would react with an acid, which would produce salt water. Plus, there's going to be an additional thing, and that's going to be a carbon dioxide molecule. A carbon dioxide is going to be produced. That's one extra thing that's going to be produced. That's it. Otherwise, the equation would be kind of exactly the same. So let's start. Let's start with a carbonate. Let's call a sodium carbonate. Okay, remember, a carbonate ion would not exist alone. There's going to be a metal, a positive ion, or an ammonium ion. Any positive metal ion would be next to it. So sodium carbonate with an acid. Let's talk about. Let's call it nitric acid. I'm going to try and write the reaction. So what is sodium carbonate? Sodium is Na. It's in group 1. It's +1. What's carbonate? It's CO3 minus 2. So what's the formula? It's going to be Na and 2CO3 plus there's going to be nitric acid. So what's going to be produced? A salt is going to be produced. Salt is going to be produced in exactly the same way. Replace the H with what? I mean, what would be the salt?
Sodium nitrate.
Okay, so the Na would take its place. It's going to be Na and NO3. It's going to be Na plus 1 and NO3 minus 1. Plus, there's going to be water and carbon dioxide. Okay, remember, every time the salt was produced in exactly the same way. The H in the acid got replaced by the metal aluminium. H in the acid got replaced by aluminium. So every time it's the metal that's going to replace the H. In this case, it's going to be sodium that's going to replace it, and that's your equation. That's your entire equation. Is this clear, this reaction?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Saneem, is this clear? Everyone? Zainab, is this
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Yes.
I said, so that's how a salt is going to be produced, water and carbon dioxide. And you can just remove the overall charge would be 0. So you can remove the charges and you can try and balance them. Again, when you try to balance them, start with the easiest one. Which one would be the easiest? I mean, don't start with O. O is the most difficult. It's everywhere. Which one is in the least number of places? What would the first thing be that you balance? क्या होगा? Afan? Now what's the
So sodium night.
as this? So I mean, you can start with sodium because it's in two places. So sodium, there are two sodiums.
Yes, sir.
So over here you'll multiply this by 2. Okay, so sodium is balanced. I said, what about the next one? What's the next element that you would balance?
Nitrogen.
Okay, so
Hydrogen. Nitrogen. Yes.
I mean, you can even balance hydrogen. That's in two places. I said, how many nitrogens do you have? You've got 2 nitrogens over here. How many nitrogens do you have? There's only 1. So you multiply this by 2. You can balance hydrogen. That's in 2 places. So there are 2 hydrogens, and there are 2 hydrogens over here. Carbons, there's 1 carbon, and there is exactly 1 carbon. So what about the last thing that's left is oxygen. So the oxygen should be balanced automatically. So it's 3, and there are 6 oxygens over here. So that's a total of 9 oxygens. So there are 6 oxygens over here, and 1 over here, that's 7, and 2 over here, that's 9. So oxygen gets automatically balanced as well. So
Yes, sir.
I'm going to write a couple of more reactions. Let's say I've got magnesium carbonate, which is Mg2 plus CO3 minus 2. And I'm going to react it with phosphoric acid. So that's H3PO4. So it's going to produce salt and a water molecule and a... What would be the salt? What would the H get replaced with?
It's a magnesium.
So it's going to be magnesium and Mg and PO4. So the formula would be Mg is group 2, so it's plus 2, PO4 is minus 3. So the formula is going to be Mg3 and PO4 would be twice. So that is our formulas. And let's move that, and you only need to balance this now. So balance with the easiest. What's the first thing that you would balance in this equation?
Magnesium.
So the 3 over here. So over here you're going to have 3 magnesium carbonates, right? What's the next thing? So magnesium is balanced. What's the next thing that you would balance?
Hydrogen.
So over here there are 2 hydrogens, and over here you've got 3 hydrogens. So what would you multiply each one with?
We'd multiply H3PO4 with 2 and H2O with 3.
And 3. So hydrogen is balanced. What about what's after that? Which one is? I mean, you're done with magnesium. You're done with.
It's a carbon.
So you can start with carbon. How many carbons you've got here?
3.
So you'll multiply. Like there's only 1 carbon over here, so you'll multiply this by 3. So carbon is also done. What about P now? Is P balanced? How many P's do you have?
So 4.
Why do you have 4
Yes,
P's?
sir. 6. Yes, sir. 4. 2.
2. You just have 2
2
P's.
4 is 8. Yes, sir.
8 कहाँ से?
Oh, sorry, sir.
Oxygen,
Oxygen
four
yes, sir.
oxygen is with 4. There's only 1 piece, and that's bracket 2, so that's 2 p's. Okay. So over here
Yes,
you
sir.
also have a single p, but there are 2, so there's going to be 2 p's, right? So p is already balanced. So the last element would be the one that's the most difficult, oxygen, that is automatically balanced. How many oxygens do you have over here? Now this is going to be 9, and this is going to be 8. So 9 plus 8 is 17 oxygens. So how many oxygens
Yes,
do you
sir.
how many oxygens do you have over here? That's 8, right? And there are 3 over here. So that's 8 plus 3, that's 11.
Yes, sir.
11
And
plus
17.
6
6.
is going to be 17. So oxygen is also done. So you've balanced everything. So just remember how to make a salt, and you can make the whole equation. So try and do the same thing and try and balance this. Make these equations aluminium carbonate. You can start making, even if they're wrong, keep sending me these equations. Aluminium carbonate with hydrochloric acid. Then nitric acid, sulfuric acid. You can try and start sending
Sir,
me. Yes,
what's the charge of CO3? Is it 2?
it's -2.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you should know the charge. I'm sending you the. I mean, this. I mean, I'm just sending you the snapshot again of where all the charges. I think over here. So, sending the snapshot again of the list of ions and their charges.
Sir, should I send them to you balanced?
I need balanced equations. And the same for calcium carbonate. And whenever you get stuck, ask me a question.
सर एल्युमिनियम कार्बोनेट और नाइट्रिक एसिड का आप कर सकते हैं? सर नहीं हो रहा।
एक सेकेंड, कौन सा? एल्यूमिनियम कार्बोनेट प्लस?
नाइट्रिक एसिड।
अच्छा, यहाँ पे मैं कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है। एल्यूमिनियम कार्बोनेट प्लस नाइट्रिक एसिड। अच्छा, who's done with the first one? मुझे भेज दो। अच्छा, एल्यूमिनियम कार्बोनेट का what's the formula of aluminum carbonate? It's aluminium is group 3, ठीक है, remember that, it's +3, carbonate is -2, so it's going to be Al2 and CO3 would be 3, right?
यस सर।
अच्छा, plus nitric acid, so that's going to be HNO3, right? And salt, what would be the salt?
एल्युमिनियम नाइट्रेट।
Aluminium and nitrate, right? Aluminium is +3, group 3, NO3 is as a charge of -1, so the formula is going to be aluminium, NO3 thrice, right? And plus you're going to have water and carbon dioxide, right? So that's your equation. Is this clear?
यस सर।
See, balance it and then send it. If you're not able to balance, then ask me. Achha, now balancing this equation, okay, this is the second one. It's forget the charges. So how would you balance this? Start with the easiest, which is aluminium. So there are two aluminiums here, right? So fun kya karenge? You'll multiply this by,
2।
and after that you'll have what one? Which one is the easiest?
कार्बन।
So ठीक carbon. How many carbons do you have?
3।
So you'll multiply this with 3 because you want.
यस सर।
And then you have NO3. Achha, N, how many N's do you have? You have 6, right?
यस सर।
So you multiply this by 6, right?
यस।
अच्छा, तो क्या क्या हो गया? Al is done.
यस सर।
N,
कार्बन।
carbon, easiest one. H, start with H. 6H.
यस सर, 6H and so multiply by 3.
So H is done. So I think you're done with oxygen as well then. Okay, if everything is balanced, then you can count the oxygens. This is 18 oxygens plus 9 oxygens. That's a total of 27 oxygens. 18 over here and 9 over here. So how many oxygens you've got over here? You've got 9 oxygens, 2 molecules, so that's 18 oxygens. Plus 3, that's 21. Plus 6, that's 27. Is this clear?
Okay. Yes, sir.
So I can solve the first one.
ठीक है, just a second. ठीक है Zainab, I think it looks fine. Amna, that's also fine. The first one, क्या aluminium? That's aluminium carbonate, right? So that's Al and CO3. So it's plus 3 minus 2. So it's going to be Al2 and CO3 would be plus, you react it with HCl. And the H will get knocked out and replaced by Al. So it's going to be Al and Cl. Hamza, is this clear? Al is plus 3, Cl is group 7, so it's minus 1. So what is the formula? It's going to be AlCl3. Plus there's going to be water and carbon dioxide. Hamza, is this clear?
Yes, I got it.
And then you balance it. get rid of the charges. You balance it. So if you try to balance this, it should be the 2 aluminium. So over here there should be, multiply this by 2, right? Clear? What else? Easiest one. CLs, you've got 6 CLs over here, so you'll multiply this by 6 as well. And then what else? You've got 3 carbons, right? You've got 3 carbons over here. You're going to multiply this by 3. And then you've got 6H, so you multiply this by 3 as well. Okay, is this all clear?
Yes, sir.
So बाकी और किधर है?
Start doing.
Same, just checking yours. It's the formulas look good. TK, TK, everything looks good. The balancing is fine as well. Just remember, when balancing, balance the easiest one first, the one that's in just two places. Hamza, just 1 second here. Water plus CO2. Hamza, why is everything 3? I mean, the formulas are all good. I mean, this is with the H2SO4, right? So I'm doing this. Hamza, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
I said everything looks good except for the balancing. It's CO3. You made all the formulas. This is with H2SO4. And it's going to be what? Al2SO4 thrice. Plus there's going to be H2O and CO2. That's this one. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try and balance it. Okay, so Hamza, which one is the easiest to balance out of all of them? Just sit.
Sir, S.
So let's start with this. How many S do you have over here?
Sir, 3.
So you have just one S over here, right?
Oh, yes,
Right.
sir.
So we're done with this. What
Yes, sir,
isn't what?
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Acha, what's the next one, the easiest one?
Sir, C.
So how many C's do you have?
Sir, there's 3 over here.
So over here you just have one, right?
Yes, sir.
So you multiply this by 3, right? So you're
Yes,
done with C. Acha, what next?
Sir, H.
So you've got how many H's? You've got 6.
Yes, sir.
So over here you'll multiply this by
Sir, 3.
3. Okay. So you're done with H. What next? The aluminiums are already balanced. Like you can see the aluminium, that's 2.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's already balanced, right?
Yes, sir.
और कौन सा रह गया? The oxygen is the last one. That would automatically be balanced. It would already be balanced. You can count it. There are 9 oxygens, and there are 12 oxygens over here. So that's a total of 21 oxygens. So there are 12 oxygens over here and 3 over here. That's 15. 15 plus there's 6 over here. So that's 21. ठीक है, तो जो last वाला है ना, that automatically gets balanced.
Okay, sir.
Sir, can you do calcium carbonate and hydrochloric acid?
That should be an easy one. What's...
Sir, for some reason my oxygens aren't lining up.
Okay, so calcium carbonate plus hydrochloric acid, right? I mean, you must have made one. I mean, there must be a formula that would be incorrect. What's the salt that's produced? I mean,
calcium chloride.
So it's going to be calcium chloride.
Oh, you're right.
And that's
I
going to
didn't add the 2. Never mind. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, one of the reasons why if you don't seem to be getting the equation balanced properly, then there's probably a mistake in the formula. Okay. So, everyone start sending me the answers. So, I'm disconnecting from here. Send me the answers to all these questions. Take a
Alright, sir.
take a snapshot if you want to. It's just aluminum carbonate with these acids and calcium carbonate with these acids. I'll send it now. So, okay, take care. Office.
Office, sir.